All right, ladies. So again, these were those extra assignments that we added in. This is 8 days is normally a story that I read in class. Each of you have a copy of, and I wanted to make sure that you were able to at least get a little bit familiar with this story because it is a very powerful one. So number one, what is the natural disaster that took place in the story and what happened to the narrator as a result? Number two, on page one, the narrator Junior says, I played in my mind. What does he mean by this? Number three, on page three, Junior says, it was the biggest game of marbles ever played in our neighborhood, in the entire country, in the entire world. What does the word entire mean? And then for number four, it says, reread pages 3 and 11. Who is Oscar? What can you infer happened to him? Okay, so now I want to take a peek at the Slate character analysis. So again, where it says character, you put Junior. Where it says title, you'd put 8 days. And Slate is an acronym for all of these things we're going to identify about our main character, Junior. So the S stands for spoken words. And again, this is a story that is told in first person. Junior is our narrator. So what I want you to do is maybe just pull out some of the most powerful things that are said. Or if you want to focus on points where dialogue is introduced and he's having a conversation between another character, you can do that as well. Looks and appearance is probably the toughest one. They don't actually say. We are able to look at the illustrations and kind of see that for ourselves. But what I want you to do is I want you to think about he's been trapped under his house for 8 days. Okay, think about what his clothes may look like. Think about what his hair and his skin might look like. Okay, he's been trapped. There's debris and dirt probably everywhere. Also, too, I want you to think of the setting. He's native to Haiti, so he's Haitian. So again, they give us some physical characteristics based on the illustrations, but also what you may know about Haiti and the people who live there and those who are native there, maybe their looks and appearance. Actions, these are things that he does. So here might be a little bit different because remember we did this when we were reading Esperanza Rising and we were doing a Slate analysis of Carmen. Here, he's trapped under the house. He's not actually doing any of the things that he says he is. But him playing in his mind, he's pretending to, if you want to introduce that way, he's flying a kite, he's playing marbles, he's teasing his sister, he's at the barbershop. All of those things can be included here in actions. So thoughts and emotions, yes, he's thinking about all these actions. So if you want to pull a couple of those from the above one, you can. He actually says, like, I thought about how much I missed Oscar, and I thought about this. And then his emotions, how he's feeling. Okay, maybe at the beginning of the story, the end of the story, and certain evidence that can support that. So the effect on others, again, this is an inference question here. I want you to think about his family members. I want you to think about Oscar, but then I want you to think about all of the readers of this story and the inspiration that Junior has given them. And then down here, you probably see all these lines, and you're like, saying, what are these lines down here? What I want you to do is I want you to do kind of a descriptive paragraph answering the question, who was Junior? So I'm going to show you mine in just a moment, but that's what these lines are for. Okay, you're just going to give me a little paragraph about Junior. So I'm going to show you mine for a little model that you can take a peek at. So let's look at that. Okay, ladies, so I'm going to go over my answers with you. Again, you're not copying. This is for extra credit. So this is not a mandatory assignment. So again, you do not have to get this done, but I don't know why you wouldn't, right? Get a little extra credit point. So let's take a peek here. So for number one, I said the natural disaster that took place in the story was an earthquake in Haiti. The narrator Junior's house was destroyed and he was trapped under it for 8 days. The text states, when I was pulled from my house 8 days after the earthquake, my family was there waiting. On page 2, Junior says how his house fell. Number 2, I played in my mind means that he imagined playing different games and activities with friends and family on each day that he was trapped. And then I give 2 examples. So it says, for example, on the first day, he flew a kite with his friend Oscar. Additionally, on the morning of the third day, I teased Justine by pulling her pigtails. Number 3, the word entire means whole or all. And what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to how I structured my response. Because again, when we're asking questions about vocabulary here and we're using context clues, I do want to know what from the story helped you determine your definition. So I said I inferred by using context clues from the sentence, including words like biggest and ever. And then I said the narrator describes how big the game was by increasing his description with neighborhood, country, and world. Okay? So again, I want to know those keywords that help you to determine those definitions. So Oscar is Junior's friend who was trapped under the house with him, who unfortunately dies. We talked about this at the end of the story. The text states, and my best friend Oscar, who was with me when my house fell, flew his kite too. We learned of his passing when the text states, but then Oscar felt really tired and went to sleep. He never woke up. That was the day I cried. So now for Slate character analysis, again, our character is Junior. Our title is 8 Days, A Story of Haiti. So you're going to see that in the left-hand column where like spoken words and looks and appearances are. I gave myself just some guiding notes, things that I wanted to make sure I remember I did. So for spoken words, I had a little star. I said, first person narrator, so all the words are his. Some may have quotes if explaining dialogue, if he's introducing that dialogue. So I just took 2 here, and again, I only want 2 pieces of evidence for each section. So the first one I chose was, I was brave, I told them, but when the earth shook again and again, I was afraid. I pulled this because this was from the very first page where the interviewers are asking him all about his experience. And it's awesome because he does identify how brave he was. He's very aware of that. But I think it's also important to understand that he was very scared. And the coping mechanism that he used to imagine and play in his mind was amazing. And he acknowledges that he was brave, but it's very important to understand that this was a little boy who was very, very scared. And then I pulled a quote from the final page. I felt so happy because I could feel the hot sun on my skin and see the bright blue sky. So again, he kind of gives us that kind of descriptive language to show us what he was really valuing when he got out, because there was a part of him that probably didn't know if he was going to escape safely, especially after what happened, the terrible thing that happens with Oscar. So for looks and appearance, again, infer based on the events of the story and use the illustration. So I said he has torn clothes and he's probably covered in dirt and debris. He's trapped under a house. He's Haitian. Again, I little typo here. It's supposed to be an Ihaitan. He's Haitian. And they give us some of those physical characteristics from those illustrations. And then I probably said he looked tired and emotionally drained. He absolutely probably did. So actions. He played in his mind to pass the time while trapped. Okay. But then I have these dot points here about a couple of things that he did. So he flew a kite. Oscar and I started a game of marbles. Oscar and I played hide and seek. We made paintings with nail polish. We went to Papa's barbershop. We had choir rehearsal. And then the things that he actually does was he was crying about Oscar, right? He said that he cried on that day. So we have to infer these thoughts and emotions, right? So I broke it up into 2. So the thoughts first. He's probably wondering if he's going to get out, right? He's reliving the memories of family and friends. And then I thought about how much I missed Oscar. He actually does say that and stated in the story. Emotions. Fear, he actually admits the fear and feeling afraid on that very first page. Sadness, he's crying about Oscar. The joy he has when he gets pulled out. I hugged them so tight I thought that I would never let go. Okay, so thoughts and emotions, again, these need to be inferred. The effect on others. He helped Oscar survive for 5 days. So again, that's kind of a positive spin on an extremely negative situation that happens. But if we have that kind of positive light on that he did help him survive for 5 days, they helped each other survive for 5 days. Worry from his family, appreciation once he was found. And then readers learn about an inspirational story of a young boy who survived. Then we have this kind of power of imagination and creativity that really helped him survive. And I thought that was major. So before I read my paragraph, this Slate character analysis is something that I encourage you to do. I've actually kind of done on my own too when reading my own personal novels and stories, either, in school, outside of school. And it really helps you kind of get involved with the character, really step into their shoes, whether it's told in first person or third person. So what it's forcing you to do is analyze their words, their actions, how they look, their effect on others, what they're thinking. And it allows you to kind of put all that together and really get to know your character. So I challenge you to do a Slate analysis. This is now going to be the second one that you've done this year, and apply it to your other stories. Think about the impact of those things and really kind of dissect them. So, who is Junior? Junior was a little boy who survived an earthquake that struck his home. He was trapped under his house in Haiti for 8 days. Junior was trapped with his best friend Oscar. The boys played in their minds to pass the time and keep their focus off the scary reality that they were in. Junior relives the memories of his friends and family. Unfortunately, on the 5th day, we infer that Oscar dies. Junior was incredibly brave for dealing with and surviving the trauma that he endured. Junior is an inspiration to all because of his physical and emotional strength. Okay, so you can be a little creative with how you want to structure your paragraph for this final part, but I'm looking forward to kind of seeing these analyses. Thank you, ladies.